Hello, sports lovers. Welcome to Med Sports TV. In today's episode, we are going to discuss boxing and football news. In the football news, we are going to start from the sacking of Frank Lampard. Then, with the boxing news, we detailed Saul Canelo Alvarez fighting Yellow Dream. Then, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. Then negotiations and all the happenings. Then we discuss Usyk versus Joyce. So let's get into it. Now, in the first news, let me start from the camp of Chelsea, where Chelsea has parted ways with manager Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard have been Chelsea manager since last season. He took them to the top four last season. There was no transfer, but he managed to promote the academy boys and he managed to qualify them to the Champions League. This season, Chelsea spent over £200 million on transfer, and they were expecting big and Frank to deliver big time. But Frank has failed, and he's now 11 points behind Manchester United as at the time we are recording this video. At a point, Manchester United was down there, not even in the top 10, and Frank Lampard was among the top two. So we don't know how it happened. That the team is not playing well. At a point, they were conceding goals. Then he changed formation. They started keeping clean sheets. Then all of a sudden, back to default settings. So Chelsea had to part away with him. It's very sad because he's a club legend. I think he deserves some time, and what he had done the previous season, he had shown some signs of greatness, but I think he was just overwhelmed and should have been given some time to turn around the league table. But unfortunately, Roman Abramovich does not have that time, and Frank Lampard knows. He even complained about Villas-Boas being too young, as at the time he was sacked last season. But hey, who am I to complain? They are almost about the same age as at the time Villas-Boas was coaching Chelsea and the time Frank Lampard is coaching Chelsea. But who am I to judge Lampard? It's very, very sad for him, for his career to get sacked at this early stage, given the he was backed financially and there was expectation for Chelsea to deliver. I even said in the Premier League preview that I tipped Chelsea to win the league, but unfortunately Frank Lampard has not lived up to expectation. Now I move to Canelo. Canelo last fought December after parting away with Oscar de la Hoya, his manager. Now he is going to fight February 27th, and he's fighting the Turkish boxer Yellow Dream. The name is quite tricky, so Avani Yellow Dream. So a lot of people are judging Canelo for taking a cheap fight, but let's face facts. Avan is the WBC mandatory. That means if it's a mandatory, you have to face him or vacate the belt. You have to face him or vacate the belt. So after facing a tough fight, as in Callum Smith, and dominating him, you need an easy fight to cool down, especially when Canelo has said that he will be fighting 3 times this year, and he has already signed a contract for his next opponent, which is Billy Joe Sanders, which is scheduled for May, the first week in May. So that he has come in from a tough fight, get a warm-up fight, and enter another tough fight. I think it's very fair, and Canelo is doing something great. Most champions don't do that. Most champions fight once a year or twice a year, but he has stated that he's going to fight February, May, and September. That is fantastic for the sport. So I think Canelo should be pushed and given the back end of all boxing lovers, so that he can give us more entertainment, more news to talk about, because he is the cash cow of boxing as at now. Now I move on to Usyk and Joyce. Usyk and Joyce have fought at the semi-pro level, in which Usyk totally dominated Joyce. But with the undisputed bout happening between Anthony AJ Joshua versus Tyson the Gypsy King Fury, the WBO belt. Usyk is the WBO mandatory. So Anthony Joshua was supposed to fight Usyk next. No matter what, he was supposed to fight Usyk next. But there has been negotiation that the first fight would be for the undisputed. Then the belt would be taken and given to the winner of Joyce versus Usyk, because the two of them would be fighting for a vacant belt for the future. So they'll fight for a belt, then they will fight without the belt. Then the winner of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua would vacate the WBO belt and give the belt to Usyk or Joyce, depending on who wins. So there has been a lot of, just to have the undisputed fight for the first one, and the second one will not be for undisputed. So Frank Warren is suggesting a 2-fight deal for Usyk and Joyce, so that they also get a 2-fight deal just like Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. So Usyk is a mandatory because he was the cruiserweight champion and he moved to heavyweight. But Joyce moved to second position after beating Daniel Dynamite Dubois and stopping him in the round 10 after Daniel Dynamite Dubois quit on the stool. So that is how come number 1 and number 2 are facing each other to take out the eliminator and then be deemed the champion by the WBO after the Anthony Joshua versus Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury first fight. Now I move on to Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder. Deontay Wilder is scheduled to fight Charles Martin, all along in which we thought he was in mediation for the third fight with Tyson Fury. It was all fake news. He was rather in mediation to be compensated for the third fight not happening, because Fury has stated that he is not going to fight him after Deontay Wilder insulted the Gypsies. Deontay Wilder called them thieves and he decided that he will not fight him again. And besides that, the contract with Fury had expired September 2020. So he rather wanted a compensation for the fight not happening, but he was not pushing for the fight. It's very sad that the Lion Den boxing community came out, deceived the public because of the money they can make off the news of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight, in which they knew very well was not happening. But hey, can you blame them? At a point in time, Blue Blood Sports TV reported that Deontay Wilder is being compensated $32 million. What the? Who'd compensate you with $32 million? Hey, I doubt if you even get a $5 million compensation, because Deontay Wilder, prior to the Tyson Fury fight, did not make much in boxing. Facts. So I don't know where from that $32 million that was being reported, which is fake news, but they put it out there knowing very well that it is not true, for us to presume he is being given a full purse money instead of being compensated. And it got to a point they reduced it to $10 million, and I'm betting that I'll not be shocked to reduce it to $1 million. So this is all for now. Thank you for watching. Stay positive. Subscribe to the channel. Press the like button and share. Au revoir. Bye-bye.